And it's time to say good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, this is British Radio Africa. We're coming your way from Detroit, Michigan, the USA. It feels great to be back home. And folks, I'm telling you, grab something to drink as always. Get the popcorn rolling. Invite a few friends. Please don't be selfish because you don't want to miss this program tonight. Something very interesting is coming your way. And just in case you're celebrating your birthday today, I'd like to say congratulations. And let us show hope that you're able to see many more birthdays to come. All right. This one comes from the management and staff of British Radio Africa. As always, folks, by the way of introduction, this is the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. And please allow me to borrow the wordings of the wise men. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. The height of a man is never known until he rises because there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone because you can't hide your nakedness from bathing bucket. When God bless you, don't see that medicine because a bald-headed man does not walk on the moonlight. The medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia, the broadcast commissioner, ASHFORD the Giant, and now you know me in Garland. Welcome. You know, you can't tell Liberian people something, right? A couple of nights ago, I told you I had something very important to disclose to you, right? You are here tonight. And don't be selfish. Invite a few friends. Don't hear this by yourself. Tonight, I have with me Mr. Robert BLAMO, the father of one of the missing young men. I also have Mr. SAMUKAI CONNEH, the uncle to one of the missing young men and chief spokesman for the CONNEH family. And later on in the program, we are going to be taking a look at some of the things the police spokesperson Moses Scott said last night. We'll play his revelation, what he knows, and then we'll allow Mr. BLAMO and Mr. CONNEH to weigh in as well. In the meantime, our special guest co-host is in the building, and very shortly you're going to see him side by side with me. And let me begin by telling you this. You know, in life, you have to value yourself. And that's the only way people are going to take you seriously. If you don't value yourself as a human being, nobody will take you seriously. Because most of all, people have a way of disrespecting people. Value yourself, and folks out there will take you seriously. Image is all you have. Carry yourself in a way that people will respect you. If somebody tries to disrespect you, you put it in check. Do not be afraid of any human being except God. Because the same way they put on the pants one leg at a time, you do the same. Respect people or value yourself if you want to be taken seriously. Welcome. take time out to say hi to Michael Seward, Clarence Taylor, V. Bishop. Thanks for being here on time. Miata Dakenan, Cassava Leaf. What kind of name is that? Nicole, Jefferson Zen is in the building. And Vera Tia Lepins, Jimmy Papi Garley, my own little man, is also here tonight. Tia Phillips, Fallon, Evangeline Mamintar, Josephine Love Mason, Meston Boyd, and the rest of the crew. Okay. So shortly, we'll bring in Shelton, Volcano Shelton, and then we'll introduce our special guest tonight. The Honorable Wayden K. Glaze Sr. is in the building, and Jefferson Zern is watching from Ganta, Nima County. Paul Smith is also in the building. George Marshall, Billy Yane, Bill Cole. Oh, man. Alfred Anderson. What's up, my brother? Little Charlene Tarrage, Ebenezer S. Thamage, Samuel Jackson. Oh, man. You know, like I said 2 nights ago, I told you we have something very important to disclose to you. Something that has to do with the communication between one of the closer people to the three missing young men. Smith Dawei, welcome. Vani Kiatumba, welcome. And we'll disclose that tonight. But in the meantime, folks, please join me as I introduce to you my special guest co-host, Mr. Volcano Shelton. Shelton, welcome to the show, my brother.
Good to be back. What's happening, man? Listen, you're getting ready for Liberia. I can see it all in your face. Your fingers all twitching. Man, listen, I'm envying you right now. I'm jealous. No better time to be on the grounds, you know. But it's good to be back here tonight. We have a good lineup. Anyone who's been following this case, it's been over 2 weeks now. 3 young men, you know, allegedly drowned in the St. Paul River around the Hindi region. That was on October 16th. And the 17th, you know, it was released to the world that these men were drowned, and, you know, they couldn't find their bodies. So the survivors who went ashore, you know, were taken to the police station. They made a statement. But the person of interest, Mr. Moses, who is the proprietor and owner, CEO of the St. Moses Funeral Home, all fingers have been pointed to him by the families of the missing young man. The family of the missing young man, I believe, you know, say that they believe that their loved ones are still alive, and the purpose why they're being held is presumably for ritualistic purpose, because Moses is currently a diamond, you know, mine owner, and oftentimes, you know, sacrifice is associated with such a, you know, business so that it can be, you know, turn out to be lucrative. So the issue here, the Liberian National Police chief spokesman was on last night with us. He gave his own version of what the government has done so far. But Mr. CONNEH, who is the chief spokesman for the CONNEH family, came in and he kind of rebut everything that Mr. Carter said. So at least to corroborate what is unfolding, he brought in Mr. BLAMO, who we also interviewed, you know, previously. So my concern here tonight, and the listeners, I'm sure that they both are, you know, in studio with us, that they will come solid with more, you know, update information as to how far this whole case is gone from their perspective, what they have done, and if they continue to say that these guys are alive, you know, what mechanism and logistics they're putting in place to be able to bring them, you know, back. So hopefully we are gonna have a good discussion tonight, Ashford. I just wanted to give a quick summary so that people can come up to speed of where we are. Of course, one body was identified on the 29th of October, but up to now the family has not gone, and not one of the families have gone there to do any proper identification except for photographs that were put forth by a forensic practitioner, Dr. Rockefeller, who believes that that body may be one of the guys because of the clothing that that body was wearing when it was found. So right now we're in a sticky era. So we 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 don't know. So I'm hoping that the Conan and Mr. Conan rather and Mr. Blamo will have some good updates for us tonight.
Now, speaking of updates, what do we expect to hear from both Mr. Conan and Mr. Blambo? Number one. Number two, you listened to Moses Carter last night, and most of the things he said, Mr. Conan said they were all false and misleading. So, what do we expect to hear from Mr. Conan and Mr. Blamo tonight as we bring them shortly?
I think he dispelled some of those things that the police spokesman talked about, and of course, it was more of the telephone line, and so there was some, distortion in what he was saying. So it was not that clear. I'm hoping that tonight he will be very audible, and I'm sure you're going to play some of the clips from the police spokesman, uh, just to reiterate what was said, so that Mister Conan and Blambo can kind of address those things that were said last night, and hopefully they will have opposing views and updates for the public, because that's critical. We can't come here and keep recycling the same story. It's not going. We don't want to know the story anymore. We already know so much, right, Ashford? So
That's
what
right.
we want is to take us from where we are. Our listeners, the world needs to know what's the next step, and what's that step that's been taken by the government, by the family. And if the family says that the government has done nothing, then what is the family doing, especially knowing that their loved ones are alive? So what are they doing outside of the government? If the government is lying, if the government is doing nothing, so that would be what we want to hopefully get out of them tonight, and you know, but something that would make forensic sense, something that would make uh credible sense to our listeners and our viewers, because it's critical for us to take a new trend. Please don't come here and tell us, hey, one night Moses called for the children and all of that. We know all of that. Bring us up to speed. What has been done behind the scenes and in the public, at this time. That would be critical for us here tonight.
Okay, Mr. Conan and Mr. Blamo are backstage listening. So uh, let us continue with some of the clips from Moses Carter last night, and then we can bring both Mr. Conan and Mr. Blamo uh, up close.
Okay, so I was privileged to have served as one of the observers when the autopsy of Gifty Lama, Albert Peters, as well as Vambutu, George Vambutu, and Yensua were conducted at the St. Moses Funeral Home. The autopsy was conducted by two trained Liberian pathologists who were trained with the assistance of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, in Guyana. And the two Liberian pathologists are Dr. Zopon and Dr. Cooley. These two Liberian pathologists are really versed in conducting autopsy. And so after the conduct of the process, week after last Tuesday, a question was asked by the observers as to when the result is expected in to the government of Liberia. And the answer from the pathologist, was that Well, amongst those persons, because you see, Ashford is a kind of for delicate search. When I mean delicate search, I guess some of your folks will understand what I mean, because the Simple River is a long stretch of a river, right? So we do not really know exactly where uh, the bodies may be found, but we know one thing we know is that when you drown and you are underwater at all length, you must come out of water. So our guys are doing what we call an offshore search. That's what we are doing right now. I must be very frank to let you know that we are doing an offshore search in making sure that uh, in the wake of the reports of drowning, we can check all of the shores to find out whether any of the bodies have surfaced on the shores of the St. Paul River. No, we've had some interactions with the family. They've put up some, you know, attitudes relative to, going to identify the body in Kakata. So one of the things we thought was, let's make this thing very easy. Let's take this body from Kakata and bring it to Monrovia, where the family can have easy access to identifying the individual in question. And that is why we took the body. We are taking the body from Kakata and bringing it to Monrovia.
So currently, no formal identity has been made by the police.
Exactly. That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Well, I wouldn't want to go into that because, again, this is an ongoing investigation. Is for all the family members, the friends, or whosoever that is connected to these young people who got missing, to be able to make such identification. Because you see, we want to be very specific. We don't want people sitting anywhere and just saying, "Well, that's one of the bodies," and all of that. We want the family to be the one to really, speak to that, because then we will know that yes, the kids really, I mean, these young people really drown or they didn't drown or not, because that's why we say alleged drowning. And some people who didn't understand thought that when the police say alleged drowning, then it's true that it's drowning or not. The fact is, the accounts are, in the direction of alleged drowning, because when you talk about drowning, it means that, it's death by water. And so it's for the police to establish the claim of drowning. And that's why we are doing everything possible to make sure that some of the information that is coming from even the family members, that their children are not dead, their children are alive, and they are being held hostage and all of that. Those claims, counterclaims, and all of that are proven through facts and not just.
Okay. Well, you just heard the police spokesperson, Mr. Moses Carter. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite Mr. SAMUKAI CONNEH and Mr. Robert BLAMO. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Ashford. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, thank you very much, Ashford.
Let us begin with Mr. BLAMO. Where are we now with the search for the missing young man? Please bring us up to speed.
Thank you. We don't have to say anything further, but based on the diabolical lies from the police, we're constrained to make the clarity. You see, I don't know if this postman is working along with the Liberia National Police, or maybe he's sitting in some nightclub or so. Because, to be frank, we have passed that issue of drowning and canoe capsized. We passed that level long ago. I mean, we're kind of surprised when we're in the bush with police officers from Central Headquarters and police officers from Kakata, the PSC personnel. We are walking to that bush, and Moses kind of was saying something different. He didn't even know the police were there with the family. And he was saying something contrary. We were called sometime the 19th of this month, where the director of police and 103 called us for a meeting with the entire family. We're in those meetings, and the police director apologized to us for the unbecoming attitude of the spokesman who just go on the news feed and just talk rubbish, something he don't know about. He's not being given the opportunity. He has not even getting in touch with his own men on the field to know what is obtaining exactly. And was saying, and the director knew that it was established by 2 teams of police officers that went on the crime scene. And for the director, it was established there was no canoe that went out, there was no canoe that capsized, there was no drowning. And the police informed us that they were taking 25 men to go out there to search for the missing children. Even that very Moses Carter, who was himself the spokesman, was on radio, local radio, asking people to provide information about the whereabouts of the children. I had saw their body after 13 days and coming to tell us where and identify, looking like that. Is there a police officer who saw no, even if I'm illiterate or I don't have an idea what a body will look like after 13 days? He or police officer is supposed to know better. And he invited us to go. We don't know this. We have passed that stage. We expected for the National Police to tell us if they have found the children, the lady by of the children. And the police director is well informed when it comes to where the children are. He knows. So whatever Carter was saying yesterday was total rubbish. Today we spoke with the director, and he apologized again that he didn't know how Carter went from the media to say what he said, to the extent where he was inviting us with all the concern of the police director tomorrow for a meeting. So fast forward, the issue of locating the children in the bush is just a gameplay by the police to go and protect the Moses installation because they thought other members of the family were going to burn his diamond mine. So the director himself confessed today that Moses' lawyer wrote him requesting the police to protect all Moses installation. So perhaps, and we are aware that the one who sponsored the tip of the police, giving them fuel, giving them part-time and everything. So the police director took our numbers when in that meeting. He took our numbers that when the 25 meeting were going out there, we're going to be duly informed. He got each member of the family names and number. We had never been called in that time. Not knowing they took those numbers, only to tap our phone to know how we're making progress on the police activity and to find out where our children were, to know if the interns were there, who were there to intern from. So they decided to tap our phones. So right now we're playing the game with them. We're not calling with our number, we supply them. These are some of the development we have.
Now, Mr. BLAMO, did you just say that the police director knows where the children are? Is that what you just said?
Exactly. The police director knows where the children are.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Exactly. How do you know that, Mr. BLAMO?
When the children were lastly taken from the the island. When the children were lastly taken from the island, they were escorted by a black Jeep identified by the villagers to be a police car. They called us and told us exactly the time because we were planning to go in with Sasakawa the next day. The police went ahead of us and they had to remove the children from the island. So when the police team went in there, actually there was nobody there, but they knew they had removed the children from Monrovia. So Moses was bragging about people should go and search the island. But we had intel, we have people planted out there. The very day they took even that body they took off. Before it could come off, we had a photo of people that took a long reach and stopped and forwarded it to us. So they were wasting their time thinking that they were stopping people. By the time they came off, and where the body was found, we all in a little pit like a swimming pool. They just put it there, they just drop it there, tie it, keep it down. All the things we got the pictures. Somebody took it for a day, said they didn't even know. We got people planted there, and God is helping us.
Well, Mr. Blamo, Mr. Blamo, I think this is a big allegation.
Yeah.
I think this is a big allegation against the police director if you say he knows where the missing boys are. What have you and Mr. CONNEH and the rest of the family done outside of the police to put pressure on the police director if he knows where the boys are? Are you reaching out to the American embassy with evidence? Are you reaching out to any human rights organization? What is it? Because you're saying that the police director knows.
Thank you. I said earlier, Liberia has one of the finest police force, and unless a police officer in Liberia want to go there, that why sometimes I refer to them as, when you do the game before monopoly, it's the money. So I call them monopolies because they monopolies. If it comes to money, they can do anything dirty. They have everybody in the police headquarters is against us. They are very much in sympathy with us because they have most of them are legitimate parents. They are feeling for us. A couple of police officers will call us because they tell us, look, gentlemen, we can establish a fight, but if we submit it, nobody wants to accept it. We know what's happening. This police director is one sensitive and professional police officer who can establish a fight. Up to now, the Liberian National Police is not able to tell the public whether there was a kidney capture or not. They are not able to establish those facts. And we, the family, went out there about documents, take evidence. We got video, we got audios. We went to where the police had not reached. So they're not working with us. They don't want those information out. And the police commander, the police director has the capacity to get Moses in 10 minutes to confess where the children are. Apparently, he has done that and he's been compromised.
Now,
so that's what we're going to say.
Now, Mr. Blamo, just before we bring in Mr. CONNEH, many believe that there has been some inconsistency with most of the things you said on the radio. Number one. Number two, you are in constant communication with Moses. This is a man who you claim to be the prime suspect for the missing young man. What do you people talk about?
Sometimes it's advisable. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We're listening to you.
Okay. Sometimes it's advisable, in the military, sometimes there are two methods you apply, either administrative method or you use authoritative method. And you see some of the revelation because people are praying. How they are going to know about $1 million? If I hadn't spoken with Moses, How will I know for Moses to come up from out of nowhere to tell me, BLAMO, I want you out of work. I want us to meet, somewhere quietly, and we can talk. So we can go against the enemy. Like, who are the enemies? BLAMO, he said to me, BLAMO, and you got to report him. BLAMO, I'm telling you, if he said, what is $1 million? But also you received $1 million for my children, our children. He said, no, I'm just saying something. So you see, as I'm speaking to him, I'm getting, like Moses sat on the 50 show. He's not talking about children drowning. Moses is saying to the world, look, my hands are clean. I don't have any hand in the disappearance of the children. Now it's disappearing and no longer drowning or death. So because here I have God, he can say something to me and go and say something else. Okay. But I do know from where we spoke.
Hold on right there, yeah. Mr. BLAMO. A couple of nights ago, I told my listeners and viewers that we're going to say something that was going to be very interesting. And yet you are bringing this up. Tell us about the communication that has to do with $1 million. Are you telling us now, Moses was just saying, what is $1 million? Was he saying this to say, I will offer you $1 million for sacrificing your own son? Is that what you were saying? What brought the $1 million question up?
It was what he received for the 3 children, because he was saying, he was not talking to me. He was like saying, what is $1 million for me to sell those 3 children? And then I paused him there and said, also you sold my children, our children for $1 million. He said that I didn't say sell them, but I mean that is what it will worth. And I can't do that, BLAMO. Trust me, I didn't do it. So he was like somebody felt maybe somebody must have told me about this money. And then he was trying to tell me that he did not receive that $1 million, and he did not get the children up for $1 million. His hands were clean. And kept in that conversation with my honest, I wouldn't have known. So you see, that's all the way we're getting our insight from Moses. Yeah, so further to say, he's between the sexes. He's between the sexes. So it means, and what I got from when he was saying, I want you, I'm out of work because I'm like caught between the sexes. So even he brought the children back to me, his contractor or those who contracted him, we eliminate him. So that's between the sexes. Either side will be caught. So there we are.
Mr. BLAMO, wasn't it from the context of what is $1 million? I can give it to you. Like you were requesting $1 million. If people could say that, probably you were requesting $1 million, and he said, "What is $1 million? I could give it to you." Exactly. How do you clarify that?
Maybe you are trying to sell something for $1 million. Maybe that's what you were alluding to. How do you again reconcile that?
For the 3 children, we are being selling 2 other children who are not mine. If we're talking about $1 million for my son,
people are thinking that those children just came in the picture, based on the circumstance. But your son was the chief price in all of this negotiation. But those other guys just were unfortunate to be in the picture.
Well, I can speak to that because even 10 million, 100 million, that boy of mine is my life and my walking stick. So no amount of money. In fact, there was a situation yesterday that almost struck a lawyer, and it goes with us saying, well, a lawyer comes, I go to a lawyer today, the service, and he said, look, don't bother. Because at the end, it will definitely kill the children. So let's just talk about the death benefit. I said, my son is alive, and you know it, and you're telling me you want death. As you start making requests for death benefit, he said, because at the end of the day, we only sue Moses for what is called
liabilities.
There was some death before it. Yeah, so you go and think about benefits for them. And I almost struck him for that. I said, my son is alive. And at all costs, I want him. Right now, we're on a perceptive method right now with Moses and the police. But we're going to get them ultimatum. And when that time passes, and our children are not brought forth, we are raking the U.S. Embassy, we are raking
that was the question, Mr. Blamo, that was the question I had for you. That was the question I have for you. That are you intending to give an ultimatum? Because this is it's dragging, no head, no tail. We haven't gotten anything substantial, no identification. Even it was a shame last night that the police spokesman came on and could not even identify the names of the 3 young men. It had to be Mr. CONNEH to come and say that.
Precisely.
So yeah, but are you going to give an ultimatum, or are you just going to be dancing according to that drum? Are you going to do something about this? This is taking forever.
You will know, right as I speak to you right now, the case are in town or where they are. If we don't plan the strategy well to get in, move in to get our case out, we'll be victimized, because by the time we use the force, it will look like we kill our own children. We will get them, but they will be shot dead. So we have to use every strategy together. But we have been meeting tomorrow with the director of police and his staff, and we're going to give them our final ultimatum. Because if Moses got installation in Morocco, Banga, and Ganta, we want to attack the 3 fronts. We're going to do that, and we'll go after Moses. We got a price to go ahead. He will be brought to us, and he will take us to where the place are. That's
now, Mr. Blamo, just before we go to Mr. CONNEH, it is alleged that Moses is trying to put the blame on his business partner. What do you know about his business partner, Mr. Samuels?
In fact, today we just got intel that Samuel deposited a huge amount of money with one girl who is supposed to be in relationship with one of the missing boys, Siafa. So we're going to get that money tomorrow as evidence, and we will make sure Samuel, because we got intel already from the police headquarters that Moses and Samuel were in a big argument at the police headquarters with the senior officer of the police, who to take full responsibility. Moses was saying they should charge Samuel with kidnapping, and he be charged with facilitating. Samuel said, no, you did that. You are the one who planned it. You kidnapped the children. So you should be charged with kidnapping, and I be charged with facilitating. And there was a big argument for hours. And at the end of the day, Samuel told Moses, if you want to charge me with kidnapping, then I will expose the whole thing and show where the children are. You understand? We got that full internet. Somebody send me the video, the recording. They're going to send me that recording soon.
Can you share that video with us? Can you share the recording with us?
As soon as I get it, we got compiling a lot of videos and audios that I want to put on stage, and I will have it, delivered to TK.
This is a big platform. We can't just come and base our findings on the essay, but I will allow my colleague to come in to say a few things. Then we'll go back to Mr. CONNEH. Shelton.
Yeah, so just recapping what Mr. Blamo just said. This seemed to be a long haul, and I hope that it all have stamina. Now there's another name coming up, the business partner, with money crossing hands. This is beyond what we expected. So apparently, when somebody did mention there were big hands in this, and some influential people, hopefully we can get to the bottom of this. But Mr. Blamo, do you have any relationship with Samuel, the business partner?
Although I don't have any relationship with him, but I knew him because he was from the National Security Agency, NSA. And I saw him on the 4-5 official. He knew me because I was he tried to establish friendship with me. One or twice we met at St. Moses. But where he lives or where he does, I got to know lately when it isn't happening that you are even working for police commands. That's all I know about him, but no relationship. I've never had any personal discussion with him.
I want to draw back to your attention. If you recalled, you did say that one time you inquired from Moses regarding diamond business, and Moses told you that the diamond business will require human sacrifice. And Moses was the same one who said that you will be a fool, knowing that he did mention to you that human sacrifice is a deal, when dealing with diamonds, and that you send your son up to him in the interior to his site. What do you say about that?
The issue of the diamond business, even 1990 during the war, Moses had met him bombing. It was on diamond business in bombing. And then at one time after the war, it was not a few days that Moses told me about how they go about diamond business, how they do this, human sacrifice to get more money. It was not something that he told me he had done, but he said, this is what we bring. The diamond. And Moses was in bombing, was not running a mining company. Moses was buying from stolen diamond from people. So of course, I didn't expect him to go and do ritual because he never had a claim in bombing. Everybody was doing illicit mining. You see gravel somewhere, you pay a few guys to go and wash it. Wherever you find that you sell, you get them smoking. That was happening in bombing. I don't know about diamond, but when he told me this, how other people are making money in diamond business, it was just about a year ago. At that time, he wanted to do this diamond business, I think somewhere in Grand or River G. And then when he brought the story, the place is rich, and sometimes you got to do human sacrifice, and then you can bust the diamond. And that was just discussion up the floor. Everybody just laughing in the office.
Now, Mr. BLAMO, let us go back to the $1 million. Now, how did you understand the conversation with you and Moses? Is there $1 million involved? Is it money that was paid to Moses to allegedly kill these children? Or the $1 million was there for Moses to give for you so you can sacrifice your own child?
As much as Liberia is difficult, we shouldn't even go there with money when it comes to my children. Moses made that statement out of confusion. He was confused by error because of the power of God. He was able to make that revelation to me. Because for all indications I've been monitoring me, I have never known about money. I have never heard about money. I never knew why our children were adopted. But on Monday morning, when I spoke to Moses for about an hour, Moses kept talking to me for an hour. And during the conversation, he just appealing to me, well, begging, Mama, I beg you. I want you to take God. I said, but why you keep insisting that the children are dead when you know they are alive? What's going on? And he said, look, BLAMO, look, what is 1 million? That was the high he asked me, what is 1 million? I would want to sell 3 children for. What is 1 billion? So I said, oh, so you sold our children for 1 million? He said, no, I'm just saying something. Even if they offer me 1 million, You can ask Moses and say, you agree the clarity on that.
But in all fairness to Moses, though, when he appeared on one of the stations, he said it has to be $1 billion. He said it with a B, not an M. He said it has to be $1 billion. And I said to myself, even if it has to be $1 billion, would you kill somebody for $1 billion? So, in all fairness, let me just come in and say, in all fairness to him, he said it has to be $1 billion. Go ahead, Mr. Mr. CONNEH.
He said that to you, but he said 1 million to me. And then imagine on the same 50-50, Moses came out to say there are a lot of free people in sacrifice. Who do you refer as free people? Is any human being free that you can say that? Free people that you can, if you want to sacrifice, you can sacrifice. Why would that come to your mind? So if there are free people, maybe he told our children to be free people that if you don't work nothing, they take $1 billion for. That's how I see it. And you continue to say these kind of things. And we thought we could come to an understanding where Moses would confess to us and we could go in for our case. But I know that right now, he has no remorse for what he has done. And I was like wondering why my own friend, our case just busy, and you're hiring lawyer, you are getting police, you are doing everything to make sure police can provide evidence for you. Instead of coming to us and being sympathetic, and I was sorry for what I did. No matter how the parents feel, I will be with them until we can go to the bottom of this. But since my son disappeared and kidnapped our children, the only place I lay out on Moses when we were trying to make the second trip up to the bush, to Zanzakawa, the way I saw Moses in the bush.
But Mr. BLAMO, why would Moses want to do this to you? Your friends for over 30 years. Your son grew up in his hand. He empathized with you when you lost the children back then. Within a year or year and a half, I think we are talking about the third death of your child. Why would Moses want to do that to you? He helped, according to him, provided his vehicle, provided money for fuel oil to help in the search for these alleged drowned young men. Why would Moses do this to you? Somebody you call your friend and brother, somebody you still talk to today.
And ASHFORD also to add, knowing that he sent for the boy to come to him.
Exactly.
That even makes it compelling. Why would he want to do
I would
that?
be a fool if I would do that, because the boy was in my care. And in fact, I didn't want the boys to leave, but they insisted that they have to leave that night. And one of the mistakes he said he made was to allow the boys to leave.
And that's what he will live for the rest of his life with.
Exactly.
He said that. So why would he want to do that, knowing that you are sending his son directly to him? And the relationship that both of you have.
You know, something biblical is often said. The one who does bad to you must be that one who knows you. The one who does real wicked and the enemy are most of the time right beneath your feet. And Moses failed to do his calculation because apparently these things were well planned, and the execution, that's where they had a problem. Because Moses sent for the boy, he sent for Sapphira, he used Bobby, the chairperson, to bring the two of them in. And he fed the three families. And he did that with family who was very close. He didn't even go to be alone, because he didn't know me as much as he knew the CONNEH family. I mean, he knew the CONNEH family very well than I. So There was something he calculated, and he felt with the confidence we had as friends. He could just told us, oh, the children will drive and we'll find the body. And based on that friendship or relationship, we will get agreed and immediately pending memorial service. Because in the crisis, he advised me not to go in the bush. I was stubborn. I was going there. Well, on my way, he called me to tell me the people were going to find the body in an hour or two and we had to bury it. I rejected it. I said no. I needed to see the bodies and make sure that my son pray over him before he's buried. So nobody, whether the devil or who, will not bury my son. And
all right. Okay. So that's good. That's good enough. I wanted to speak with Mr. CONNEH. Mr. CONNEH, if you can come closer to the mic. It seems as though both of you are a tag team now. You and Mr. BLAMO. Accordingly, both of you have been, in the media trying to bring this to light. What happens to the Terry family? Why are they not with you guys? What's going on? That has been my thought. I asked the same question, the other day to the police spokesman. It's all about BLAMO and CFR. What happened about Bobby? Why his family not involved?
All right. Thank you, and thank you ever so much. BRIDGERADIO Africa, ASHFORD Giant, the GARLEY, and Brother VOLCANO SHELTON. The families of these missing children under the canopy of drowning want to be very appreciative of your own benevolence or gesture. So far, so good. You've done extremely well to keep elevating this debate. Very much appreciative of their effort. Now, our reappearance on the show tonight is predicated upon demystifying the myths or lies police spokesman Mose Carter said last night. Reference of those lies: one, he claimed that upon receiving the information about people getting drowned, the police immediately dispatched men onto the scene. That's one. Two, when they discovered a body, he invited the family to go and view the body. The family refused. Three, he in particular had not done anything on the contrary, because he made sure that everything he was doing, he did it in collaboration with almost everybody connected to the aid. Fourthly, the police commander in Ghana, as he claimed, dispatched men onto the bank of the river from up downstream. They were carried on offshore search. These are all lies. And these are the lies which reappear here tonight so as to be able to actually correct them. There could be more, but vividly, these are the ones I've actually passed over. Now, firstly, Mose Carter did not tell you which one of the group of people elect the police regarding the drowning of the children. He didn't also let you to understand as to whether he ever got in touch with the families to be able to verify what actually transpired, regardless of the source he received the information from first. Now, Master CONNEH, who happened to be an older sister of SAMUKAI CONNEH speaking to you, whose son is Siabak Banaboyma involved among the three children, went as early as on Sunday calling Patrick, because Patrick calls her his mother, informed Patrick. All right? If Patrick was informed as a police director, how did Mose Carter get to know about it on the air to discuss it in absolution with family? Because she did inform Patrick. Beyond that point, Mose Carter made the water understand that they sent men on the water. Who were those that went there? The police informant did not put there until the families were able to secure 4 officers from Marubian, along with Brother BLAMO and other family members that went in to be able to actually ascertain what transpired. And this was 3 days after the drowning, or the so-called drowning, 3 days after. When we got there, no officer had ever entered into the bush. That is said to also refute Mose Carter's claim that upon receiving the information instantly, they dispatched men there. That's a lie. We were the first, along with the officer we took from Aruba, to have gone onto the water side. The officers that were even in Beaumont could not venture to have gone there, believing that the place is so terrible, it's so terrified, and they had a poor society there at the Green. We brave the storm along with them to have gone before. Why would Moses Carter come to misinform the world that the same people there immediately receiving the news? That's a lie. Tell it to come back and tell the people that they discovered a body and invited the family and the family refused to go there. That's a lie. No family of ours were ever invited to have gone anywhere to see a body. We received calls from individuals from the very environment that they have found a body. We made them understand, as far as we are concerned, the body found is body discovered now, 13 days after the alleged drowning. We don't have interest in that because we are getting all of the intel regarding the children being alive. Moses and his cohorts or accomplices know where these children are. They are shifting them from one point to another, testing our resolve. When we consent to their idea or purported story of the children being drowned, then they will go on to perform their ritual. This being the case, we are like curious to have gone to attempt the call of somebody who called to examine dead bodies. Now, beyond this point, we've come to the realization that Moses Carter made to understand last night that they have already invited us to have a meeting by tomorrow. And I made you to understand again to show that I said Moses is lying. No family member connected to a particular basic children have ever been invited. You won't believe it. As our numbers were taken by the police director, none of them ever applied any effort to call us until, out of curiosity today, we were having a meeting regarding the same issue when I called police director. Honorable Director, we are being left in suspense. Since you took our number, we've gone now close to 10 days. What is actually happening that we can't hear from you? So, are you also aware that you want to see us because the medium through which we receive this information is an unusual medium to inform people who actually are faced with such a trauma? I heard it from Bridge Radio. Bridge Radio is not being widely heard in Liberia. How sure are you that all the family members will have heard this information? It is Moses Carter who said it last night. Are you cognizant of this particular information? He said, well, I told 103 to have people informed. I don't know, but why would Moses go on the air to say something that they are not getting? I said, well, I just need to understand that if Moses said it last night and someone couldn't heard it, there's a possibility I could inform people when that particular blog or that video was a wrong video. Now, yes, you just need to understand that you want us to appear tomorrow. Suppose that I brought this in. How would we have known that we're supposed to be with you tomorrow? So you see, I'm observing some poor conduct of activities within the police force regarding this particular happenings. It is at that juncture that people feel that you got some interest in somebody outside the victims. All right. Now, getting another issue, we raised the issue last time.
But before you get to that issue, Mr. Connick, before you get to that issue, I asked you a question. Yeah. Thanks for the limitation on everything you've said. You know that Moses lied all through the night. But let's come back. Where is the third family? Why are they not with you? What's going on? Why is just you and BLAMO? Isn't Bobby significant?
I'm not getting you. Okay, fine. All right, okay. I get it. Look. Listen, ASHFORD, one of the lies told by Moses is in relation to the question you asked. Moses Carter said last night that as for the rest of the family, they are relaxed. Only BLAMO is actually not cooperating, but other families are cooperating. He said it last night on the show, and Akina said that's a lie. There is nothing BLAMO is doing in isolation of the rest of the family. Now, the two families are operating in absolute unison. Gertrude, who happens to be the mother of Bobby Bangboy, she's not a much talking type. All right, she doesn't really have men in her group. All of her cousin brothers and sisters are all concentrated in Lima County. All right, she will get a few grandchildren yet, but every meeting we've always held all of our meetings together. And whatever we are doing on the air, Bobby and BLAMO and I, we're doing it with the acquiescence of Gertrude. So nobody is actually considered relaxed, let him clean. So we are operating in absolute unison.
Now, Mr. CONNEH, Mr. BLAMO said definitively that the police director knows where the children are. Why are you people not getting the international community involved to make sure that they find these children and they should come out alive? Why are you not doing this? Why?
Okay, yes, it. You may think that way, but trust me, we are striving to make sure that those children are brought alive. What are we doing? Firstly, we have timelines set to all of those activities. We've written communication to all of the organizations concerned. All right, we've done that about a week. We've written the Justice Ministry. We've written the Justice Ministry officially through our legal counsel. The police have made us to understand that we should get a timeline of 1 week. They will keep us informed. Now, it is at that particular juncture we tell you that our plan of action will be implemented effectively as of Monday. All right? Because when there is no redress, after we reach this investigation, as they are claiming that they are doing XYZ, we give them timeline. And there are people in a huge of number waiting to only hear about protest. As I speak, people are even planning to start the protest tomorrow. We told them no, we're going to meet with the police director, as he just informed us today. And we've written organization AU, American Embassy, EU, ECOWAS, the National Muslim Council, the interfaith mediation, we've written all of them. So we, our council of churches, they have all received communication regarding this issue. So we can't just become instant in trouble over them without waiting to at least few days to get a redress for them. When it comes to violence, there's no school to actually be taught how to become violent. We know it, and we actually, when they say we know what to do to actually cause trouble. Simone got installations in Morovia, in Bon, in Nima. So the kids with Nima is just as easy as the treatment of the treatment of the eye. We can only get to tell the people in Nima to tell them to cause damage. We are not reaching that juncture. So this is the reason why we see that we are prepared. We have so many places of action. Tomorrow, when we shall have met with the police director, whatever we're going to discover, the conclusion, if not satisfactory.
Mr. CONNEH.
Mr.
CONNEH. Mr. CONNEH, the police said give them 1 week. Saint Moses is doing business as usual. He's still receiving dead bodies. He's still performing as if nothing has happened. And you allow the police to tell you to wait on their turn. What does that say to you?
Brother ASHFORD, get this straight. Let me give you this simple traditional proverb. When you are considered a witchcraft and you want to actually refute the idea that you are not one, don't allow yourself to be caught on the wall as early as 5 o'clock with blood coming from your mouth. All right? You'll find it difficult to actually refute the people's claim regarding you being a witchcraft. The government, the police, each and every person observing this particular situation, accusing the police being involved, suspecting some higher up of government being involved. They are like a desperate approach to this issue would make it to actually be considered the main architect behind the killings or the ritualistic plan to get rid of these particular children. That is the reason why we are handling this affair in a kind of a delicate manner. We are
so
let
me come in, Mr. CONNEH. Mr. CONNEH, you mentioned the installations of Moses. I remember discussing this before. Do you think it is the route to go to vandalize his properties? It's just a person of interest. And let's come back to the drawing board here. There are people who work for that business, and there are people who their livelihood depends on it. If you wanted to protest, wouldn't it be better to protest, to the government? Should you go and vandalize his properties?
If vandalization of his properties were paramount, we would have done it long ago.
Okay, but you did mention it now.
If vandalization of his properties were paramount,
he's taking the law into his own hands.
Yes.
I don't think.
I mentioned it.
Yeah, you mentioned it. So it means that it's a threat to his business, right?
Okay, I mentioned it. Can I come in, ASHFORD?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, come in.
Go ahead, speak.
Can I come in?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. I am now mentioning it because every effort considered requisite in seeking redress positively is what we are following. When all of the avenues shall be explored and nothing good come out of those avenues explored, the last and final option will be vandalization. We are not having it because, first and foremost, I told you last week, and I want to re-emphasize where our frustration will be heavily concentrated on previous reaction. I made you understand if, for any reason, Moses had discrepancy in time set regarding the drowning of the children, police must be able to establish the cause of this particular inconsistency. He called church father to inform church father that the children got done 9 o'clock, and he called the church father by 9:30. And later informed BLAMO that he was lying and sleeping on the same night, and they woke him up at 12:30, informing that the children got drowned. When did he get to know the children got drowned, for which he told the church father? That's an inconsistency there. The police, if they are very interested in key points in deriving prosecutorial summary against a suspect, that should be one of the grounds. If they will not look at that, hold that constant. The next thing there is,
let us not continue to hold a conversation between Moses and BLAMO. It's his word against his word. Timeline wouldn't matter here. So the 9:30, the 12:30, that was the conversation between Moses and BLAMO. Moses can deny that he didn't say that.
Hello, reminder. Yeah. That is the reason why we emphasize over and over that there is a need to go after the call law. We said it.
There you go. There you go.
Now you're talking.
That would be the thing to establish that conversation in time sequence. But let me come back to a question here quickly, and this is for you and Mr. BLAMO. Somebody just wrote and said, Mr. BLAMO should stop taking money from Moses. Since the last time, when Moses first put up the pickup, Moses gassed the pickup, and Moses provided some money. Has there been any other money being given during this process of the investigation?
We asking Mr. BLAMO if he still takes money from Mr.
Is Mr. BLAMO still taking money?
Not to my knowledge, but Mr. BLAMO is here.
That's why I want him to answer the question.
Mr. BLAMO, do you still take money from Moses up to date? Because you talk to him like every other day, if not every day. Mr. BLAMO?
You know, I did not take money from Moses.
You took money from him. The question is, do you still take money from him?
No. No, not at all. I say I don't even see Moses.
Okay.
Mr. CONNEH.
Yeah.
Mr. CONNEH.
Yes, I'm with you.
It is believed that the clothing found on the body that was discovered matched the clothing your nephew Safa had on. It is also believed, according to the police spokesperson, that family members refused to come and identify the body. Do you recognize the clothing if you've seen the pictures? And those clothing, do they appear to be for Safa, your nephew?
And be honest here with that answer.
Can I come in now?
Yeah.
No. There's a simple reason. I didn't, in fact, develop any interest in going to examine a dead body discovered on the water 13 days after the alleged drowning, and that dead body was so much intact. Its appearance did not convince me that somebody who got drowned 13 days would have appeared in such a form and manner. The advanced state of decomposition did not convince me that it's a body recovered from the water 13 days after. So I consider it to be a purported idea. I got no cause to have even wasted my time.
And do you agree that you say you saw pictures from that very body? The question here is, do you remember the clothes that Safa wore?
Definitely.
And we heard that there were stories where you guys agreed that the clothes Safa wore was the clothes on this body, but you guys claimed that the clothes were taken off Siafa and put on this body to stage the drowning. Is that true?
Are you saying that was heard from me or from Mr. Blamo? As far as I'm concerned, we have never ever exploited this.
No, not you, but it said that the family said that the clothing on the body. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. There's a heavy downpour of rain in Liberia now. That is the reason why we having this kind of a distorted conversation now. All right, here I say, other family members are thinking in similar manner. But we as spokesperson for the group, we've never said this before. And if we will hold logic constant, and here I say, if the body carries a clothes or wearing that Jafar had on before his departure, and it is discovered on the body, another logical perspective would be they must have captured Jafar while they are not killing, took off his clothes and decided to place it on a dead body to make it appear like it's Jafar body. That's another logical point. You have to be very much careful.
Then you agree that statement was made by some members of the family. Whether you or Blamo didn't make the statement, someone in the family may have considered that thought.
I'm gonna give you another perspective. We have not said it. As per our own perception and reasoning, they brought this forth, and that can be ruled out. First and foremost, we want you to understand one thing. We are so much convinced that the children are alive because of all of the information we gathered from the very terrain we went before police would even enter there. They made us to understand everything clear. But let us say this. There is a sequence of events here that we listen to. You ask a question, why are you people talking about vandalization? I was trying to give you the sequence of events where you cut me off. And when those events are true and no regrets, believe me or not, it will exacerbate our frustration, thereby actually giving all the mind to kill all this act of vandalization. I told you, I need those points. ASHFORD, there we understand that. If Blamo and Moses communication, let's jump on that. The Kino Uno, who Blamo made the whole world, Moses, the whole world understand that there were 6 on Kino and he captured. The Kino Uno brought forth and he made the world to understand that only 2 persons can ride on his canoe. What is the motive behind Moses telling the rest of the world that 6 persons got onto the canoe? Don't you see that as a point for which police should be able to derive prosecutorial summary against Moses? Now, we are not security professionals, but with our simple reasonable intelligence, there is a need that Moses should be handled for lying to us. Now, the next thing there is to have made us to understand that we should not go into the terrain because quarrel was there. And when we made the storm, we went there with Zanzakawa, we discovered that there was no quarrel. Why Moses is lying to us? Police have not made any sense out of this particular thing. So when all of those things are passed together, police would not make sense out of them. Then police will be forcing us to take the route of previous reaction that may lead to vandalization of all those installations.
Mr. CONNEH,
where Moses own life will get involved.
Mr. CONNEH, something Mr. Blamo said, I will ask you that to say something. Then we'll go to the telephone lines because I believe the people are anxiously waiting. They want to ask some questions too. Mr. Blamo said this thing here is alleged now that it's bigger than Moses. There are some bigger hands involved in this. Do you agree with what Mr. Blamo said?
If there is nothing I plan to agree to, that's the one I would actually agree with.
And why?
I'm saying also yes.
Why?
Because the trend of event, the manner in which we are actually moving. Up to now, Moses is still considered to be person of interest and not suspect. With all these revelations, with all the inconsistency, for God and sake, you have every right to be convinced that big hands are involved. And those big hands that are involved, there is an imminent possibility that police director could be cognizant of those big hands. That is the reason why they are dragging their own feet in establishing
the real cause of this particular thing, and not the children really being drowned. We maintain it very standing. We maintain that.
Shelton, the telephone number to call, and you come in as I announced. The telephone number is 248-979-1718. You can begin calling now. Shelton, come in.
Mr. Conneh, we gonna go to the line now and take some callers, and then we'll come back, you know, to you and Mr. BLAMO. Ashford, just bring them in. Let's try to do 3 so that we don't overload them because of the communication.
And that's what we're gonna do tonight. So
yeah,
we will take 3 callers at a time tonight.
Excuse me, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Conneh.
Do us one favor. The downpour of rain here is so much of a disturbance that please try to caution of your callers to try to amplify their voices when they are calling, including your very self, okay?
All right, thank you.
I get you.
You know what? Somebody told me, said, Mr. Conneh no book like that, my man.
but he said that when he appeared, he's a politician.
Well spoken man.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, well spoken. Yeah.
Okay. We want to visit. Wait now.
As soon as you open the line, I just go by seat huddle.
We want to invite Caleb Bain on the line now. Please speak a little bit louder. Mrs. Deborah Croman, you're live on the radio. Go ahead and ask the question.
Good evening, Caleb Bain. Good evening, ASHFORD. This is Caleb Bain.
You're live on the radio. Go ahead, make a point, and please listen to the phone and not the receiver, please.
Go ahead, Caleb Bain.
Caleb Bain, go ahead.
Hello?
Caleb Bain.
Next person, Caleb Bain will call back, ASHFORD.
Hello, I'm calling from Ghana.
ASHFORD, let's go to the person from Ghana.
The person from Ghana, go ahead.
Yeah, hello?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the first thing here is that hello.
I mean, you ever ask a question? Go ahead. You say hello. We said go ahead. We can hear you.
We ain't got time.
Yeah, actually, what is happening here is that the government of Nigeria is trying to do anything. The government of Nigeria is trying to do anything to bring the 3 children back. You understand? And this case has been a very long case. Mostly it's the cause of all those things happening. Okay, the first thing I wonder for the government to do is that the first thing I expect the government to do is that to close those periods that until they go through a verification, because those children they are Nigerians. You can't just keep somebody's child in a heavy area up to the child, can't be the child back. You see? So it's not right. The government has to close down everything back until they go through the investigation. Afterwards, they open a funeral home. But the man is moving freely in the country. And that's the man is now like the person the man is now Nigerian. He operating within the country.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Let's see if we can pick up.
That was not a question. It was just a comment.
Yeah. Murphy, you're live on the radio. Please speak a little bit louder because of the heavy downpour of rain in Liberia.
Okay, so I hope you and your guests are hearing you. Let me say this, ASHFORD, how is it difficult to... Hello?
Go ahead, Murphy. Go ahead.
Okay. So ASHFORD, how is it difficult for the police?
Murphy, just hold on 1 minute. Well, folks, if you are in queue, please mute your device or devices because we want to give your brother the chance to talk. So, Jack, mute your phone, please. Will you do that? Mute the devices, please. Now go ahead, Murphy.
Okay, Ashford, thank you very much. Quickly, how is it difficult for the police to first look for the person who got the kino? Secondly, find out what are the team Mr. CONNEH saying that the man said only 2 persons can get in the kino. Thirdly, I said it yesterday, the wallet, the cell phone. How is it difficult to find out whether that 2 people phone were found and by the people who found it, ask them whether they want to phone the phone.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much. Mommy Todd, hello, welcome to the show.
How are you, sir?
Good.
Evening.
Go ahead,
gentlemen.
ask a question. You just have 1 minute, please. We got a lot of folks in line.
All right.
Hello? Miss Todd? Are you still there?
Guess you dropped though. Just go to the next person, Ashford.
Hello, you're live on the radio.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, man, really have it though.
You live on the radio, sir?
It's reading.
Oh, is that what you got to tell us?
You live on the radio?
No.
Okay. Can't call it Rennie.
Ask me a question.
Hello.
Yeah, 701 number. Go ahead, ask your question, please. 701.
We can hear you. Go ahead, talk.
– 763 is the area code. 763 is the area code. 60. That is her name. You live on the radio.
Good morning from my end. I'm Patrick Ray, and I'm calling from Australia.
Patrick, you live on the radio. Go ahead and make your point, please.
Yeah, it's just a simple input, man. I just want to advise the families of the victims. All their appearances, there's been lots of discrepancies from both parties, the Moses, the families as well. The discrepancies are too much. So I want to advise these families to keep off this social media, focus with the Ministry of the security agencies and see how best they can resolve this issue, because every time coming up, there's lots of questions that have been raised in one of the best, including the Moses. That's just my intake, man. Let them keep.
Thank you.
To come here, let their input just be an update and not detail.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 701 5090. Tell us your name.
Hello, yes, I'm Cebu Namwe calling from North Dakota, Jamestown.
Make a point. You got 1 minute, please.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm in sympathy with the family. The thing here is, it's not that the family trying to politicize the thing here. If you can recall, Tara's Taylor brother was attacked. He was attacked by armed robbers, and he responded. He defended himself unfortunately, one of the armed robbers was killed. He was arrested immediately. Look at 3 children. 3 children. See, Moses be walking freely. He should have been arrested by now. Why are they looking to the issue? Why would the police allow Moses to be free? The idea, he requested the children and services. So he needs to be arrested. Why the investigation is still going on? I'm in sympathy with the family. What CONNEH is saying, of course, all the logical events, you don't need to be rocket scientists. He needs to be, it seems to be actually, there's a being protecting him.
And thank you. Asking for the arrest of Moses is one thing, but according to the police chief spokesman last night, is you can only hold people up to 48 hours. So they are still investigating according to them. If they find something that can tie Moses into this, then they will go after him.
And actually, you're right, because he's still a person of interest, but he's not a suspect.
Exactly.
And the reason why, and to answer to the police spokesman said the reason why they did not close is ended it down because there is not a crime scene. The issue took place, or the event took place at the diamond mine in the interior parts of Bapolu. So you cannot go and shut down Moses Funeral Home when it's not a crime scene. He cannot be arrested yet until he becomes a suspect.
Back to the telephone line. Amos Tuberson, you live on the radio from Minnesota. Go ahead and ask a question.
I got a few questions for
please make it one, man. A lot of people in line, Becky. Please make it one question.
I just sent you a text message. I don't know whether you got it because I know we got 1 minute on the show.
I know.
And I can exhaust everything.
I didn't read that. I'm a little busy tonight in doing some other things. So go ahead, ask the question.
Yes, the question. The question goes to Mr. CONNEH. I know CONNEH very good from the University of Liberia. We're there together. So I know he's a smart guy. But doesn't need Zanzakawa doesn't need any clearance to do his job. He works for the Ministry of Internal Affairs. That's the first point. Secondly, you should also understand that CYJ, who initially drew interest in this thing, has backed up. And Carrasco, who is close to the president, is from the CONNEH family.
Well, you can ask my question.
Who is a representative? APC, who is a representative for District 14, I think. So it's also for the CONNEH family. These people are not talking. So I think Mr. BLAMO has to tell us exactly what's going on, because I think there's a bigger picture to this whole thing. There's a bigger picture, and I see Mr. BLAMO is trying to making everybody focus on the fact that Moses took insurance. I don't think Moses acted on his own. Moses never acted. I don't want to believe that Moses acted on his own.
Thank you, Amos.
That's the fact.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
hello?
Mommy Todd is on the line. Mommy Todd, hello.
Thank you, ASHFORD. We can go around this thing. This thing is going to 3 weeks. If these boys are anywhere, maybe they should be killed, or they have killed them by now. And all they're doing is for the same way Liberians been doing, just talk and talk. That's what this government is waiting for. We'll talk and talk, and they will use those children for whatever purpose they want it for when the people calm down. We all need to protest. And so, my last question, where are the mothers? Because the father will just keep seeing the men there coming and talking and giving a dry door story. We're tired with it. Mr. Moses, sorry, but your face is not convincing me at all. And with the other guy that's sitting near you, your knowing proper English do not intimidate or either. Because don't come overcry always, big words to think that we shouldn't talk. We are hurt, and we are mother, and we want to talk. We have to put protest and make the government, because this thing is not a family job for them to be running up and down. It should have been the government official that running beyond Mr. Moses, where he had those 3 children, but because their hands are in it, that's why they're playing with us. And we're going to be on strike come November 16th.
Thank you. Want to go back to Australia? It's a 646. Hold on. It's a 6.
Hello.
6. Geez.
Hello.
Hold on, sir. 614 number from Australia. Is that you?
That's me. No, I'm calling from Australia.
Okay, I'm calling the number from Australia, please.
Yeah, thank you, ASHFORD. My name is George Widow. I'm calling from Australia.
You're live on the radio. Go ahead and make your point.
Here. I'll just make it brief. Mr. CONNEH is talking about the owner of the canoe, saying that only 2 persons can get into his canoe. My question to Mr. CONNEH is that, is it that the owner of the canoe was the one that was operating the canoe that night? Because we understand that everything in Liberia is overcrowded, even our cars, everything, anything that transports people are impatient. They jump on everything and they overcrowd it. So can he tell us whether the owner of the canoe was on a canoe that night when these children were trying to cross the St. Paul River? That's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the last caller before we go back to Mr. CONNEH and Mr. BLAMO, I believe he's from Kinshasa. Are you from Kinshasa?
Hello. No, I'm calling from Beijing, China.
Okay, go ahead. You're live on the radio. Make your point, please.
Okay. This is Anthony. I'm calling from Beijing, China.
Go ahead, make your point, Anthony. We heard you the first time.
Mr. GARLEY. Yes, I just want to make a point here. The issue here is this. I'm just doubting the situation here because the issue with the police spokesperson yesterday, the crime involved or the situation involved here is a first degree felony issue. So by then saying that Timothy should be walking around free as a person of interest, it really doubts me because issue of first degree felony, everybody involved or even if they should gather for any of those parties like Timothy should be in the police custody while ongoing investigation. But I've been saying to us that Timothy should be person of interest, it really doubts me because by right, this is an unbearable crime. We're talking about first degree felony where human life is being taken away. It's not only like or maybe 4 or 7 or 7 degree felony where maybe someone who is accused should be passing around. In first degree felony cases, once you are accused like rape, you must be in the police custody while going
Thank you, my brother.
Investigation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, no more calls for now. Want to go back to our guests and of course our guest co-host. So, Mr. CONNEH, I'm pretty sure you got most of the questionings that came through you and Mr. BLAMO, correct?
Okay, let me just help Mr. CONNEH. One of the callers said that you said the owner of the canoe told you that only 2 people can get in the canoe. So I don't know what canoe in the world only 2 people can get in. 2 people. Does that mean the paddler and the 1 passenger? And do you know whether it was the very owner of the canoe who was one of the survivors? Do you know whether the canoe owner was the one who was paddling the canoe the night when the incident took place or alleged incident took place? And whether it is true that only 2 people, meaning he and another person, can fit in the canoe?
All right. Thank you very much. And it's a very fine question. Interestingly, the owner of the canoe, I said, no. If you want to get it,
do not listen to the receiver, Mr. CONNEH. Listen to us. When you listen to us,
all right.
Question in real time.
Okay.
When you listen to the receiver, it's a little delayed. Okay.
That's true. Thank you very much. Interestingly, the canoe owner was not a paddler that night. He said, Moses said he sent the 3 locals to him to ask for the canoe. So when he was contacted 3, 4, 5 days after, because he got absconded, out of fear, he had himself absconded. So when he was brought and the people asked him, he said the canoe can only take 2. So now what is the rationale behind a canoe whose owner say it takes only 2 and 6 person will choose to get on it at night around about 9 o'clock to cross a dangerous water, a dangerous path? What sense is in that? So you got to start rationalizing.
So then
even if it is habitual,
so listen to this. So the caller said that even cars, pen, keke, Liberians have the tendency of overcrowding any form of transportation, overcrowding it. So because your family people wanted to go to Monrovia so bad, maybe they could have overcrowded the canoe. Could that be a possible story?
I have grabbed that particular idea, but I'm going to attentively listen to my own logic.
Go ahead.
Here is it. If the canoe owner says that the canoe takes only 2, now what is the bravery? What is the rationale associated with the bravery that will cause 6 young men to get on such a canoe at night over a dangerous water to cross it? When the man who is the owner of the canoe, he rides his canoe all of the time. He gave me all this particular specification. If for any reason Because the condition, in fact, the man also attacked when you're being interrogated. He said, somebody asked him, are you seeing only 2? He said, on the basis of constraint, I can make it 3 only in the dry season. That's what he said. On the basis of constraint, I can make it 3 only in the dry season. So indicatively, this man is.
So are you saying that the padlock is 1 person and 1 passenger? Is that what you're saying? And if it's constrained, then it will be only 3 people?
Definitely. That's what he told us.
Okay, so do we know if this canoe was ever found? And could he have shown any example? Could he have shown any example of a canoe that is similar to that canoe? Because this is strange to hear only 2 people can fit in a whole canoe where you will pull low and all those things. Have you thought about that?
Shelton?
Yeah.
If you really want to get the answer to the question, when you actually just pay key attention, then you really grab it from us. All right?
Yeah.
Yes. This young man in question is very clerical. And like any other person who is reasonable in mind, you get to understand the rationale. If the canoe can take 2, only 2, by constraint 3, he said it. And the question we ask is the same question you're asking us. As the boys could not be found, so with the canoe that capsized. Up to present, no piece, no traces of any piece of the canoe. It's part of the situation why we are confronted with to say that the entire story is purported. The canoe is a mythical canoe. This is our point.
Now,
as the boy got drowned,
ask him
Mr. CONNEH, would you also agree that when a test is supposed to take 4 people, you will have 10 to 11 people for themselves in a test? When a pimping is supposed to take only 3 people, you will have 4 or 5 people on that pimping. They could have been one of the incidents where you have people who force themselves on the canoe just to cross the river. Don't you agree?
No. The number of inflation is too exaggerated for a taxi that takes only 4. If they can take 10, that number is too exaggerated. I can't agree with you.
It's common, Mr. CONNEH. It's common in Liberia.
We've seen this happen. We have from Liberia. We've seen this.
Pimping. I've seen pimping toting wheelbarrow with cement, with baby, with small child, with big man, whole family. So what are you talking about? You riding the rope and you can see it.
Shelton, yeah, listen to this. Listen to this. You have not said anything strange. If this was a possibility, the canoe owner is not from East Spain, he's not from America. He would have made you understand that such a number can go into the canoe. Because you are speaking from an abnormal position. So that abnormal position you're talking about, the canoe owner is cognizant of that abnormal position.
It's hypothetical. It's hypothetical. Now let me ask you one. Hello.
Yes, it's hypothetical.
Yes, a critical question.
Hold on, Shelton, listen. It is hypothetical. It still goes along with logic.
Yeah, but did you ask the man to show you a canoe that looks like what he was talking about?
Yeah.
Did you ask him, said, show me a canoe that only take 2 people, like similar to your canoe? Because they have a lot of canoe in the village. Have you seen any, did he show you any canoe similar to that canoe that is not founded yet, that we have never found yet? Did he show you something similar? That's all I'm asking.
Interestingly, it is only on the different river we saw canoe there, which is not as large as the river that these guys allegedly got drowned. All right? There were no other canoe there. But my argument there is, what is so strange about a canoe that actually somebody want to overload it, that will be strange to the canoe owner? I mean, that'd be rational now. If you think that you have the tendency of overloading any moving object as a habit of Liberians, what is so strange about it that the canoe owner will not be aware of it too? I mean, that'd be rational now.
Yeah, but the canoe owner was not present. Some people were taking chances. That's all.
He necessarily doesn't have to be present. Hello, Shelton. He necessarily doesn't have to be present to understand that when there is an urgency, you can constrain yourself to have it overloaded. He necessarily doesn't have to be around.
Who is the owner of the canoe, Mr. CONNEH?
The owner of the canoe is called one Boko.
Is that the same Bobo you're accused to be the witch doctor, the one who allegedly killed, grabbed the train to kill them? Is that the same guy you're talking about?
No.
Is that the same who you said, Zanza Kawa said, He lived on the island. Right? He alone lived on.
Definitely.
Is that a sin? What you said? You should get them from the car.
Definitely. That's the
So
Vokpo.
why will you believe him? Then why will you believe his story? Why will you believe his story? The two people can fit in a canoe.
Hello. Hello.
He's the prime suspect, yeah.
Are you going to give me a chance?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
First and foremost, the story is poorly constructed. All right? It's poorly constructed that anybody who is investigating in mind will tell to understand that it's purported. And if it is purported, there must be a motive. Our disagreement with the man being the owner of the canoe is established. First and foremost, we are telling that the canoe is mythical. It doesn't exist. But let's play the devil advocate that this canoe existed. And there is an owner. The owner is the owner too. My point or our point there is, if you think like your tendency is to overly occupy a moving object, what is so strange about it that the owner of the canoe will not know it? That he's saying only two, by constraint, we can make it three only in the dry season. Is he from America? Is he from Europe? Is he from space?
Well, the question here is,
I mean, that's question I'm asking, man.
Listen,
So,
what we're trying to establish here is, why will you give authenticity to a man who is also accused of being the one holding your boys on an island, who's supposed to perform ritualistic sacrifice with him? Why will you want to believe him?
Excuse me. First and foremost, I didn't produce Vokpo as being the owner of the canoe. All right? Being the owner of the canoe is another establishment of lie in the form of fact. We hold that constant. The next thing there is being told that Vokpo is the man who performed the ritual for the people onto the island is still an addendum to the reason why the guys are to be considered the mid-doer of this particular thing for pretending. Because Vokpo, we are told he performed the ritual on the island for the people. It is the same Vokpo they brought forth as being the owner of the canoe. And he distorted that expectation by saying only two persons get around his canoe. What do you want us to actually consider? Whether he is the one, he's the owner of the canoe, whatever way, it still suggests lie.
So then, did you agree that? So then you agree that he's the one holding the boys hostage too? If you don't, if you believe me,
of that, definitely,
You
he
agree?
knows where they are. All right,
Vokpo knows where the boys are. Correct?
Yeah. Listen to this.
Also, Mr.
No,
Blamo, listen, Mr. CONNEH. Mr. Blamo also said the police director knows where the boys are. So why don't you call the police director and Mr. Vokpo so that they can produce these boys?
All right, interestingly, yes, I told you that one of the greatest disappointments we had after we realized the inconsistency in the explanation relating to this drowning, Kinu, Uno, and the rest of it, we consider Vokpo and the three survivors to be prime suspects. Police had no cause to have left them. You have to get concerned about that. Why police left them in the bush to come to town? Only to realize, hoping that they were here for thorough investigation, they said they have not come because no space in the car. All of those things should make you to start thinking about something funny went on. Why did they leave him behind? Vokpo in particular, why? Now, we were again told afterward, so let me tell you this, this thing is one thing we have never said. As day breaks, we are on our feet, making diligent inquiry, searches from one point to another, and those who we have them posted among them in the area are also giving us updates on what is transpiring. We told you that Vokpo was the guy who actually had the children on the island. But again, we've been told that they are swapping them from one point to another. In the event where it is being perceived by them where they are, people are getting their intel about their being there, they have them relocated. That's just what they are doing. And let me say this, we are very, very optimistic that the guys actually are alive. And if for any reason, also, get this from us tonight, if for any reason, any of the guys is killed, then it's done not being considered drowned. They must have done it and later just put the person into water. But not on that particular day they talk about. The fear still remains in them. The story has been blown out of proportion. Everybody has getting to understand that the children were grabbed for ritualistic purpose. Now to release them, they have become a problem. They would rather break the stone to kill them and pretend as if they really got drowned. The body you discover in water and maintain 13 days after that body you're talking about can never be intact as it is.
Shelton,
That's why
Shelton, according to Mr. BLAMO today, the police chief called them and I believe scheduled a meeting with them and apologized. And he said there was no, I mean, Moses Carter didn't get consent for him to come and say what he had to say. And it is the same BLAMO who is saying that, according to the police chief knows where these boys are. Why they can't contact the police chief? Why they can't contact Vogbo, surround the home to where you people believe that the boys are, so you can bring the children home?
You know, Ashford, honestly, good point. And I want Mr. Conneh to listen, because I'm reading some of the comments here. It's unfortunate the way Liberians analyze the situation. We're asking questions here to draw, you know, this investigation to a point where everyone can be brought to book. We're not here to take sides. We're here to establish the fact. And I hope that Mr. Conneh understands it. So when we're asking these questions, we're not asking these questions to put them against the wall and to pacify them either. We're here to be straightforward. And Liberians are writing all kinds of stuff on, you know,
usually don't
page here, talking stuff. But what we're trying to establish, Mr. Conneh, is that, yeah, you have established that Mr. Vogba is one of the prime suspects holding your sons, your brothers, your nephews hostage. But it is also presented that he is the owner of the canoe, who's telling you only 2 people can fit in a canoe. My question is, why are you giving credence even to this man? Why are you sitting with to even have a conversation with him when he's supposed to be arrested, you know, and begin to be squeezed so that he can make, you know, make known where these boys are?
All right, thank you very much. We didn't produce Vogbo as being the owner of the canoe. They produced Vogbo as being the owner of the canoe. The very environment Vogbo lives, we received intel from residents of that particular environment that Vogbo is the guy who performed the ritual for the people on the island. Now the question you're asking, as if we were the one that brought him to be defensive for all. We didn't. So as they brought him, as a man who actually is considered to be reliable and the owner of the canoe, other people tell you that the man before, don't marry. That's a false man, they lie. Then what do we do with that? And
but then why are you holding on to the fact that he said a canoe can only take 2 people? You listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
You said that they made him to come and appear that he's the owner of the canoe. So if he's not the owner of the canoe, why are you holding on to his story?
I'm holding on to the story to establish inconsistency. Get it clear. I'm holding on to the story.
If the man is planted, you have not seen any canoe. My question to you was, why didn't you ask Vogba, say, listen to me, show me similar canoe that is, you know, that looks like the one you said, your canoe can only take 2 people. Has that been established? That's just my question. I'm just trying to understand the facts here.
Yeah.
Because if I tell you that I have a motorbike and it's a Honda, and you did not see the Honda, and I take you and you take me and show me many Hondas and say, show me which Honda motorbike here that looks like the Honda you're talking about that we can't find. Then I can point to one that you can draw your inference from and say, okay, this makes sense. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, and now listen now. You know, when I'm talking to you, I'm talking with classical logic. Okay, here is the point, a very simple point. As we did not bring him, whatever he said about the canoe, we hold it constant in contravention to the claim made by Moses that the occupants of the canoe were 6, and he said 2. Okay, our point there is to disprove Moses that 6 persons got onto a canoe that can only take 2. Now, in furtherance of that, let's be honest with you. We've not come with the belief that people ever go on any water than on a canoe, because the people in the environment, they ought to understand that no canoe ever sat on a river that night.
Yeah. Okay.
Besides, if the canoe ever capsized, where is the capsized canoe, or where, if it is assumed that it got broken to pieces, no piece of it anywhere?
Mr.
Point we are on. And all of those questions we're asking I think it should have been the police if they were interested. They should be able to ask all those questions, not us.
Mr. CONNEH.
You see people getting there with you see people making all sorts of comments. They are getting there with you because they want you to be able to rationalize it on the point.
Mr.
The
CONNEH.
only question to ask was the question to be able to actually establish fight or lie.
Mr. CONNEH.
Are we here? We are being told that he performed the ritual. What we got to do with that? So
Okay.
immediately, somebody who is not trusted, is not reliable. But even with that, we are also
in all fairness, you hold that as a value fact in this investigation.
Shelton, 1 minute. Mr. CONNEH, let us backtrack a little bit. It could be you or Mr. BLAMO. One of you said you were very happy that Prince Johnson was involved in this case, that you were going to seek justice. You were also happy that Chief Zanza Kawa was involved in the case as well. And you people were going to Montserrat, going to the Ministry of Internal Affairs to get permit to come and give you people the authorization to search for these missing young men. Now, according to Mr. BLAMO, bigger hands that are bigger than St. Moses are involved in this. Why Prince Johnson is not saying anything? Why Chief Zanza Kawa is not saying anything? Why?
Okay, thank you. Their action is an addendum to our suspicion of big hands being involved. How? The enthusiasm, the exuberance the guys have from the very beginning. You could see fear in the guys' faces for why people try to get absconded in the form of manner and people playing with it. Now, that particular anxiety we saw in them to just see the instantly twisted in the twinkle of an eye got us to really believe that big hands are involved. Because Zanza Kawa got ready to go and he could not tell us uprightly. You know, Prince Johnson doesn't have anything. Prince Johnson was the one that told us, he said, look, my people, let me tell you the fact. Zanza Kawa will not go because he received a call of threat. When we asked him where the call of threat came from, he said, that what you want me to tell you? I don't know. Are you with me? And Prince Johnson did not stop there. He wanted to tell us, according to his human spirit, the children are not alive. So let us try to go seek a prayer warrior to pray for us. Those were the quotations of Prince Johnson. Those were the scenes of Prince Johnson. Are you with me? So all of those things are still buttressing our perception and our belief that big hands are involved. What next?
Hey, then. The big hands that are involved, I hold that on the big hands, people always accusing, you know, this country, you know, you can do what you have to do in terms of leadership, but to take the lives of people, that is something we want to condone at this time. And we're hoping that these big hands that they are thinking that involved are not the big hands the people always accuse of getting involved. Sheldon, I want you to comment, then we'll go to the telephone lines.
Well, you know, Ashford, we've taken, you know, our business schedule to come here and be involved with this because it is dear to our hearts. We want the Liberian people to understand that we're not taking side here. We're only trying to establish the facts for the BLAMOs, for the CONNEHs, for Bobby's family, for even Moses, who is a person of interest, and the government of Liberia and everyone. We expect all of them to, you know, be forthcoming, and we're going to wade through what these statements are and ask the kinds of questions. Now, the Liberian people want to be appeased, but this is not about being appeased. This is about establishing the facts to unearth the truth. And we empathize with the situation. It's frustrating for all of us, and we're hoping that together we can work toward a common conclusion. And that's all we're asking. And so our listeners, our viewers, you know, you have the right to come in, you have the right to ask questions, and we try to bring you on board. But please be understanding, this is a sensitive matter, and the questions we're asking here is only to be neutral as possible and to draw the, you know, a final analysis and conclusion that would be able to resolve this matter. And that's all I want to put forth.
And something has to be wrong with somebody if they think that we're taking style here tonight.
Oh yeah, they already accuse you and I. They say
that's good. We have a 612 number, 8517. Tell us your name and ask your question. You have 1 minute, please.
Yeah, hello?
It's a
hello?
It's a Minnesota number. You have
Yeah, hi. I'm calling from Minnesota. Can you hear me?
okay, you have 1 minute, please. Go ahead,
They're
ask your
talking
question.
whole day on the people. Just shut up.
Yeah, I'm calling to give a point. These people just hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Okay. The next
We
time
can hear you. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We can hear you.
I ain't got patience for that. You call, listen to the caller and not the receiver. If you want to hear yourself, then you're not supposed to be on here. It's a 763 number. The last 4 digits of your number 6060 6085.
Yeah, hello?
Okay, go ahead. Ask the question, please. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, I listened to Sheldon. Sheldon said that anyone my name is Josephine BLAMO. Sheldon said and the police director said they cannot close the Moses down in Moravia because it was not where the incident took place. Granted. So how about the Diamond Manor that the incident took place? That have the police closed it down? No. So what?
We don't know that, man. We don't know that, and you don't know that as well.
He's the prosecutor because he said to the children and allegedly got drowned. So why is he not? He's not being arrested. Why is he being arrested? 2, why the Diamond Manor is not closed? Because the incident took place to the Diamond Manor. If he said because
Thank you, ma'am. The last 3 digits of your 459. I believe he's calling from Australia. Go ahead, make a point, please. You're live on the radio.
Yeah, good morning, Garley. Thanks for your time. You see, what I want to say here, Garley, if the government really serious long time they are operating this way. In fact, the Moses, the same Moses, man, and the 3 teller, those people, they are the prime suspect in it. There is nowhere in the world where somebody comes to me and says, Nathan, let your 3 children go work for me. And up to now, then the man giving contradictory statement. The first thing the government is supposed to do, in conjunction, those people who are the lawyers, the Moses lawyer or the Moses, they sit down on the round table and do preliminary investigation. But the whole thing here, the way I see it, it's so sad. For me, I don't have questions for CONNEH because those who provide me with questions, they should take those people because it may happen to your own children. They just go away like that. Those people, they are grieving. Nobody should find a solution how we can, the Muslim man can bring these people children back. It's so sad for our citizens. The police, if I was an ordinary person,
thank you.
I can put my energy in there. Long time they are arrested that person, put him in jail, and be doing a background investigation.
Thank you.
There's a complaint or interest. It's so sad for our people. That's
Thank you so much.
So, Colin, if you can have courage, God will fire back.
Thank you so much. We have a 267 number. The last 4 digits, the number 3599.
Hi, I forgot it is cautious. I just have 2 questions for the family. Now, my first question is, have they done an investigation to know which one of the canoe those guys used to go across the water? Okay, and how many persons sat in a canoe to go across the water before and they decided to come back?
Thank you. Okay, a 612 number 9634. Tell us your name, please.
My name is Brandon. I'm calling from Minnesota. How are you?
You're live on the radio. Go ahead and make your point.
All right. So my question to Mr. CONNEH here is this. Why is he taking Moses' statement so serious when all the information that Moses is giving are coming from a second-hand source? Why not write those questions to the 3 survivors? Because anything that Moses is saying, it's not coming from him, it's coming from someone else. So why are you guys not asking survivors? And to make this thing very easy, and my last statement is, why is it if there's a body that was found, why are you guys not going in to make sure that body is a body or not? Why?
Thank you. The last caller before we put end to the callings tonight, we have Ali on the line. He's our last caller tonight, and then we'll go back in studio with our guests and call this a night. Ali, you're live on the radio.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Before I continue, let me just say, Shelton, you are annoying. You're supposed to be interviewing and not interrogating. I can tell how uncomfortable Mr. CONNEH is with you. I'm in the state of Maryland, far from you, and I'm mad at you because you are really harassing these people, and it's not fair.
Jesus. Oh my God. Sheldon, the man on you.
That's fine. I mean, it's understood. The thing there is an interview. We can't pick and choose. We're trying to establish facts. So you're telling the police to do the work the way you want it done, or you, as an investigative journalist, I need to ask the questions.
We mistakenly kick you out, but go ahead and continue with your statement.
Yeah, Shelton is not doing too well. You know, I can see Mr. CONNEH really controlling his emotion. And you cannot treat people like that. If you are treating an investigational journalist, you pack up, you go to Bon County, and you investigate where the action took place. That's what investigational journalists do. You're performing like you're in a court, and you're the lawyer defending the defendant. That's what you're doing. But let me just get my start to this case is one of the most simplest cases to solve. The logics are just so glaring that I can't see why anybody would argue it. If you say that there's no Kino in the world that take two people, I tell you, I grew right next to the Famito River. There are Kino that can only take one person. I can tell you that. Okay? And another thing, I should keep telling this guy, why can't you call the police director to come in? Do you know how powerful the policeman is? That this man have the ability to get that policeman to do what he wants? You know, the case is simple to solve. The Kino man said, it's simple. A canoe do not take more than 2, and if it does, the maximum is 3. The main man to get here is the canoe man. First of all, did you cross any 6 people at any given time? Canoe man say no. Did anybody ever use your canoe and cross 6 people? Canoe man say no. So who's lying? Moses is lying. Someone is lying. Not the police should be deeply involved in this. So you know, thank you for interrogating the people. Interview them, please.
Thank you. And folks, not Dustin for calling tonight, and you know, that when you know the show is getting some type of traction when callers calling and they can't get through. Go ahead, Sheldon.
Yeah, let me clarify because the listener who just accused me of being hype and putting Mr. CONNEH.
His name is Aliyu.
Yeah. First of all, he didn't even understand. Mr. CONNEH did say that he's not even buying the story of Mr. Vogba because Mr. Vogba was put in there to own the canoe. So why are you asking Mr. Vogba now to ask Mr. CONNEH, Mr. CONNEH to ask Mr. Vogba about canoe and what have you? Because they don't believe that Mr. Vogba is indeed the owner of the canoe. So apparently you're not following the conversation. So let's go back to Mr. CONNEH. I think one of the callers asked a question here that if you recall, Mr. CONNEH, the question was, why are you trusting the police director?
Oh, okay. Before I get to answering the question of trusting the police director, I want to look. Ali's comment resonated well with me. Shelton, I must admit, he spoke my mind. You are sitting the wrong way on this particular interview. You are not an investigator. You are an interviewer, seeking to understand what has transpired with a group of people who are aggrieved. All right, you were sitting the wrong way. I mean, it's nothing that you have to actually be defensive for. Here is the issue. For God in heaven's sake, we want you to understand that Moses is an architect behind the construction of this purported land. All right? So whosoever he's bringing, the first thing that we are preconceived with is Moses has planned to bring a story to us that is not realistic so as to better convince our children that ground. So we'll do everything requisite to establish that he's not talking true by getting to the people in that environment to find out from them, which they are informed of that nobody sat on that particular river that night. No canoe ever sat on that particular river that night. Now, Moses is claiming that the people got drowned, and he brought 3 individuals. Firstly, the 3 individuals he brought, he said they are locals from those villages. In our investigation, we keep realizing they are his employees. Okay? And they go on to know that there were 6. Where is the canoe now? Where is the canoe? We asked for the canoe. He said he can't get any trace of the canoe. Where the canoe has gone. Who is the owner? Then they brought in the man called Vogba. Vogba, because all they thought on that if we are seeing the canoe, they would have been convinced. But our intelligence surpassed that thought of theirs. Now, honorable owner of this canoe, how many persons might be on your canoe? 2. Discrepancy of 2 and 6 must be a cause why they have to lie. And our interest there is police will be able to look at these lies and understand that something has gone wrong. Then you still coming by the car, I sure first and foremost, we need to understand clearly that everything that the people do is mythical. But we couldn't actually build logic for their own authority, for their own claims. So we should not be there to start answering questions that you think police will be able to post it to bed. You must answer it. How you are with me, Shelton? So I mean, did not actually lie. He was just on the right trajectory.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Mr. Connie, you grant an interview. That does not exempt you from questions because you are the victim. We have to ask the questions based on what is unfolding. And from the onset, every information given here since we started this in coverage has to do with third party. There's been no one to come and say, yes, I put my hand up and I'm the first person here giving a factual information. Most of the stories that you're holding on to is a third party story. All of the information you're receiving is also a third party story. So why should we treat you differently in this interview? So it's not like we're trying to accuse anyone. We're trying to establish the fact. That's all it is.
And Mr. Conne, Mr. Conne, Mr. Conne.
Allow me to say this to Brother Shelton. Shelton, I don't want us to make triviality a subject. We are seriously appreciating you guys' effort for affording us all this opportunity to be able to actually aid to the rest of the world what is happening in our country. So let us actually just enroll that nothing has been said. Let's go to the next page.
And Mr. Conne and Mr. BLAMO, and to those of the viewers, Shelton, in all fairness, just playing devil's advocate, and I don't believe Shelton is some way somehow compromised, as some of you are alleging. This man is just speaking as a professional. I don't know why are you taking it up on him, and he's asking the tough questions to really find out what is going on. I don't believe that he's some way somehow trying to make Mr. Conne look some way somehow.
I mean, but really, I don't really have much problem because realistically, there is no question of being pushed to me that I wouldn't be able to answer you. At some point in time, somebody actually remind you on the logical train. Because if this is the case, then this should be the cause. That's what we are speaking on here. If this is the case, then this should be the cause. Now, what I'm really looking at.
And Mr. Conne, you're right. You're right for being suspicious, and you're right for being logical. But with all the logical analysis you've drawn here, what do you do with the logic you're forming here to bring back those boys? That would be a question. What are you doing with all the logic you're forming to bring back those boys?
These are the trends that we are taking now. We are making sure to explore all of the avenues that are considered legal, that are considered legislative. First and foremost, we got a country that is assumed to be a country of law. All right? When things of such happens, you first get the authority of the nation informed, which we've done. All right? And they are saying that they are pursuing the case step after step. But what we do know is simple facts that are gathered. But by the way, Shelton and Brother Ashford, let me just say this for the record. The reason for which suspicion negatively against police continue to grow is this. There are basic facts we've gathered. If the police really want to establish facts on the case, I think they should have also developed interest in operating with funders that went in before the police. Because we went in before the police. All right? And we got in contact with people in that particular vicinage. They gave us almost all of the intel. Now, the request we made for police to join us, they were with us. We in fact motivated them to have gone. They said they could never have gone because they were afraid. Why we need this time around dispatch 25 police in isolation of those of us that were in first to do first investigation. Only to realize you are just saying surprising. You claim that because Moses said on your show that the men are on the bed of the river. Do you know that mistake has some of them under there? None of that. They only went there to take protection of Moses installation. Then they lie to you. Moses Carter said, and lie. And the police patrol on the bank of the river, they are carrying offshore search. Why others lie? I think they are very important to the police to be able to use them and get information. But they are not doing so. That is the reason why we continue to also accuse them now. That's just very simple. And this nation is not sailing well. Because look, Moses speaks well. Moses Carter speaks well. When he's good speaking, it's being tempered with too much of lies. And mind you, as you are lying against people who are being victimized under certain circumstances, they will tend to actually develop some feelings of animosity against you. It is not only this particular group of people, not these families that are confronted with the particular problem, but other people. Moses just goes on to the lie, and then he lies. We are wondering whether it's the only way to actually be able to air or to speak to the police, but just a lie. All these simple fights, all the fights. Why can't they put it together? Okay, let's play the devil advocate again. See, Moses is the individual who carried those children. Has he ever made a responsibility to come and see any of the family members in town for the day it didn't happen? Because first and foremost, those whose children he took into the bridge are people that he really, really know good. It's just as if go bring your personal furniture and they sacrifice with that understanding. Most of the conscience is very clear. He took the poor children and it became a natural accident.
No, Mr. CONNEH, according to Moses, he was advised by the police to step aside because he was threatened.
And a person of interest.
And a person of interest. I strongly believe if you were in his shoes, you would have done the same to stay away.
Yeah. Ashford. Listen to me. No, I'm sorry to say it. You know, if that is the perception he carried, it's a perception of naivety. First and foremost, Moses called the father of the church. They are all in the same church. If his heart was very clear and he knows he's absolutely innocent, the same man that need to have called the father of the church, he could have told the father of the church, I'm coming myself, I'm coming to you for to go to Moses. That would make a great deal of sense. Let us stay there. So that is not an excuse. He got something in his sleeve that made you stay away. It is because of that reason, 2, 3, 4 days, he carried the children and got drowned. It is first and foremost, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, when it's happy, nobody actually went out of proportion. The first thing we have onto what there is a possibility that the children got drowned. But the story coming now, the inconsistency, explanation of the story, they ought to understand, no, these lies are poorly constructed. There must be a motive. It is when we start to actually go so much anger. So he should not lie. Nobody exhibited anger for the first 2 days. Had he come to us, had he come to the family member that he knows very well, I don't think we are taking it wrong. You know why? No, when the conscience is not clear, trust me, there will always be attitude of such kind exhibited by an individual and what he's actually doing. Nobody should lie to you. Moses knows what he has done.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. CONNEH. Again, time has caught up with us. I want to bring in Mr. BLAMO to give us his partner statement, and then you, Mr. CONNEH, can give us yours as well, and then we can call this and that because I have another show coming on later on tonight with Quincy T. On Monday, we'll play host to Mr. Charles Levi Martin. He will be our special guest on Monday. So with that said, Mr. CONNEH, not Mr. CONNEH, Mr. BLAMO, I want you to please come in and give us your partner comment.
Okay, I want to say thank you to all those who are kind of concerned about our children. You know, I said earlier, the police director is in the know. Let me give you a typical example of what transpired recently. This is the reason why I said the police, I refer to them as monopolies, where you play monopoly. There was an incident somewhere in the very Bone County involving a press guy that was killed. And the police went up because there was no big hands in that investigation. In less than 72 hours, the police were able to get to the bottom of it. This one, the police had not yet been able to establish if there was an accident. Interestingly, I'm not going back, but we took police with us who did video and audio recordings We took CID. They are not even looked at, even the Moses Colley has not even looked at the report those guys have. They have not even perused it. And he's just saying things. Anyway, he said he's the highest educated man in the whole Liberian National Police. So he can go about and talk. But what we want to say in short, somebody talked about Moses, vehicle, and money. Look, I was desperate. Even if Moses had not made that vehicle available, any car I was going to see that day, I would have taken it by force to go and make sure I recover my son. I was prepared to do that. The money in question was not for me, it was for Zanza Kawa. But when we decided to leave, instead of the 500 Moses gave me to get Zanza Kawa, he gave him 1,200. I asked the BLAMO, and he got the 500. He said, take 200, I go for you the guy. Zanza Kawa, 300. It was that money intended for me, for people to be saying like I went after money to see Moses. I would not go and rent a vehicle when Moses got my children in the bush and he had vehicle that would meet us to that place. So the issue of money was not anywhere as a compromise. And I want to make it clear. The issue of killing accident or people drowning have been investigated on 2 occasions by the police, the CID, PSU, and we put ourselves with document and video. So we passed that stage long ago. Why are we going to look for their body? The police director can go to the bottom of a case with regards to a journalist, and he won't tell me with professionalism, he don't know how to go into a phone call law. He don't know how to use a mental torture on Moses. He don't know anything. He should teach. Why does the police have to go on our water? To tell you, say, Moses will tell you police are roaming up and down the river bank. They don't have any bathtub to sit in and float over the water. Why are the police using? Are the police divers? Nothing they have. They're only protecting Moses installations. And they say they are in search of terror. Can they go into that bush? They can't. To carry the first group of police, we had to encourage them, we had to pressurize them, and you will go with us. They were all afraid. So what is Moses Carter? Moses Carter have not seen. If you ask Moses Carter today, that place where the incident took place, if he ever had an idea where it looked like, or the victims today, the missing children, let Moses Carter be able to call their names or take the address of where their families are. We have not seen one police officer saying incident happen to visit one family.
You know,
we have not seen
Mr. BLAMO, some people came late, especially for Sweetie Smith. She said, Ashford, the other day, you said you're going to say something that will shock all of us. And of course, during the beginning of the show, we asked you, Mr. BLAMO, about your conversation with Mr. Moses, St. Moses, and he kept talking about $1 million. $1 million. What is $1 million? Nothing. $1 million is not anything. I can come up with $1 million. I want to know at what point in time of the conversation he was talking about just $1 million. Was he talking about $1 million to give it to you as a means to sacrifice your child, or he was paid $1 million to kill the 3 people? Mr. BLAMO.
I can tell you quite frankly, Moses was talking about $1 million that he was paid. Moses knows very well. Moses said on the radio that there are 3 people in Liberia. I don't think somebody can offer more than $1 million to anybody for, people for ritualistic. People are dying in the numbers every day in Liberia with all the past extracted. Every day we hear news of people being killed for ritualistic purpose. If people offer $1 million, you know how much you're talking about? Nobody paying that kind of money. But because Moses had a way to do it and cover it up, so he requested $1 million. And that was the mercy of God. He came out of him coincidentally. He did not actually intend to say, but he said it when he recollected himself. You know, and that's how we took it. And I knew from when he said it, yeah, it like he was not prepared to come up front. Because Moses' only intention was to see if I could join forces with him to dupe those people who he did. And I advise him, anything you want to discuss with me must be done with the rest of the two parents. Because besides SAMUKAI, who are with Safa's mother, Gertrude don't have men with her. And she lives very far. Look at the time. In Liberia, it's about 10 minutes to 12. I have to drive from Painesville to Broadville. I will not see one human being on the street. Can Gertrude be in the position to do that? She will not be able to come this far and leave this time of the night to go all the way on the Ralphie Highway, where you find 16, 17 dead bodies with all the parts extracted. And people are not talking about it because they are afraid. But we are not afraid, and if we don't get the appropriate answers we need, we are going to get the police director and ultimatum tomorrow with him.
So, Mr. BLAMO, you strongly believe that Mr. Moses was paid $1 million to kill these boys for reason best known to himself and that the ritualistic purposes. Who do you believe may have given the money to St. Moses?
Well, we're taking Abraham Samuel will reveal that information soon, because as long as the two of them are now local, Moses explained that Abraham Samuel received the money. Abraham Samuel is saying that Moses received that money, and they are local here. The fight will come out. If you better face the police director, they better tell you who really received that money, because Moses is distributing the money all around. People are receiving it. You know, police are receiving the money, baby. Even Moses kind of got a little, you can't tell. So people are receiving the money, and the police should be able to.
Signal.
They know who got the money, who received the money, and who was the contractor. I mean, across the ability of the police director, potential guys, they know already, but they are time late. If you are very sad before the police director, then you will not relate anything to you. You will not tell you anything. Advice concern investigation is ongoing, that the common language they will speak to the world. And ongoing, and can be ongoing for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. But we as the family and the parents, we are far ahead of the police. Far, very far ahead. The only thing is, they think they can.
But Mr. BLAMO, you and St. Moses are very good friends. As a matter of fact, you've been friends for over 30 years. St. Moses claims to have the #1 and best funeral facility in the country, and that he cannot do anything for $1 million or $2 million. It has to be $1 billion, according to St. Moses. You know that this man claims to be very successful. Why do you strongly believe that he accepted $1 million from someone who believes to be in the higher ups? He's God. Shelton, you listen to Mr. BLAMO, and what is your take as we call this a night tonight?
Yeah, honestly, Ashford, you know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the way you know, we Liberians analyze things. And it's also unfortunate the way we're quick to, you know, run with what we have, rather than being, you know, good listeners, good discerners, and draw logical conclusion. You and I tag team here on this event because it is dear to our hearts. And for people to think that we're insensitive because we ask the kinds of question, or we're trying to probe because even the victims who playing victims could be the perpetrator. And we've seen this time immemorial. So it's no secret here that we're taking sides or anyone is being paid. I do very well for myself, but because it's journalism is my first love, and you and I know this, you feel similar situation like I do. And for people to question our integrity is unfortunate. But that doesn't stop me from being feisty in my interviews and asking the kinds of questions. You know, unfortunately, he's coming with this kind of big news now.
Grave allegations.
Yeah. Again, it is the same as the BLAMO who has spewed hearsay throughout these interviews. But we're hoping that, you know, hopefully if the government respects itself, and I use the word respects itself because it's been accused here, it will do what it's supposed to do, beginning with the police, beginning with the Ministry of Justice, beginning with the Temple of Justice, and all these places, you know, will do what they're supposed to do as a government and be respectful of themselves and what their role should be in this investigation. We want to ensure that we want to let people know that what we're doing here is to unearth the truth, and we're coming from a very passionate place, and it has nothing to do with taking side. We empathize with the situation. That's why we have, you know, put ourselves in this, and we'll continue to do that. We want to see the end of this situation. We'll do anything. Whoever comes here should come prepared, because we're not going to tap your hand on the wrist because we want to, you know, we just want the facts. And that goes for anyone who comes to the interview, you know. So again, unfortunately, our viewers and our listeners will say things they want to say. They're entitled to their opinion, but we are here to unearth the truth, and we side with, you know, the BLAMOs, we side with Mr. CONNEH, his family, we side with Bobby. That's why I keep asking the question about Bobby, because he's also significant in this whole, you know, situation. And all those people who will continue to speculate, the 3 survivors, the Bokba, where are these people? You know, how are they squeezing them? Including the very Moses, who is a person of interest, you know. And we can't continue to drag and go in the media and think we're going to solve this problem. It has to come from a place where international community gets involved. The international community gets involved, you know, civil society gets involved, because there are 3 people here, and it's important because this case can do a lot for Liberia and its justice system.
Of course,
it happened before.
And Shelton, from the line of
Allen Yancey, Anderson, Tanyano, Omen Barkley, Francis Yimpan. You saw what President Talbot did then. So this case can solve many of the cases in Liberia. So that's why we're trying to do everything possible from a professional perspective so we can unearth the truth. And that's all it is. And we will follow this case until we get the answer. And now, if the boys are alive, great. I'm hoping for the same. And if anyone is involved, I will hope from the president to the janitor, whoever is involved will be brought to justice. And this can be done through the intervention of the international community, civil society, and everyone.
And Shelton, from the line of questioning, from the St. Moses, I have been accused by St. Moses has been biased in my questioning. Even the Moses Carter last night, folks who support the government were all insulting me today because of the line of questioning we had last night. You know, we came on the same very platform and raised money for Mr. BLAMO and the rest of the people.
because of how passionate you were.
Man, you know,
I saw you crying that night.
Exactly. So
for anyone to think that we're being hard on Mr. CONNEH or Mr. BLAMO, or why are we investigating him, why we're not focused on, it's absurd. I mean, we're trying to do what we got to do because it's coming from a passionate place. That's all it is. I mean, I know what it is to lose your family member. I know what it is, and in that kind of careless way. And if it's for ritualistic purpose, then it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. No money in the world can bring a person's life back.
Mr. CONNEH to give us his parting comment, and perhaps BLAMO can conclude because he didn't, and apparently they had some connectivity issue. So, Mr. CONNEH, I want you to give us your parting statement tonight as we go home. We've been here now for 2.5 hours, and I have another show coming on with Quincy T in just about an hour and a half. Yeah. So come in, Mr. CONNEH, give us your pardon statement.
All right. Thank you. Then thank you ever so much. Honestly, you are right. In our own environment, we found ourselves. We have established enemyship with time because it's not too fine. Liberia is now a different Liberia. VOLCANO SHELTON, I just recollected his name in the face. I remember some years back in Buchanan, he was a very fine and smart young man coming up. I know that. You know, you take care of that exuberance in journalism. I appreciate the kind of idea you have, but just let us understand that becoming investigative, becoming an interviewer, they could be most likely, but to some extent, there's a distinction. In the case of ours, we are considered to be the victim in this situation. When you want to become overly investigative, do that in the case of the person who is allegedly considered to be the man who has performed this act. Beyond that point, ASHFORD, let me say this. I think this will be a forgetting revelation that will be considered my conclusion. Do you also know that 2 days after the alleged drowning pronouncement was made by Moses to the families, our children's phones were still being responded to by people who did not call their names? This will be a very strange thing again. You hear the missing children whose
Are you listening?
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Okay. Now just have to think about it. We got a lot of reasons. The reasons are too much for which we are suspicious. I mean, Moses is suspicious of actually having our children and planning to kill them for ritualistic purpose. You will have us informed on Saturday, October 17th, that the children got drowned and their phones were being responded to on Sunday and Monday. What sort of miracle is that? You have to start thinking about it. Anyway.
See, Moses is back on the show, man. We need to get him back on the show, Shelton.
Well, yeah, we got to bring him back.
That is the reason why we strongly emphasize, if you are not convinced of what we see, there is a need you go by the second call law. You know, the points are too much for which, if the police really mean well, they can use all of those points and derive prosecutors somewhere against Moses, who carry the children and making pronouncement and got drowned with these revelations. They go help us and save Liberia. Thank you ever so much. I appreciate your effort. Have a nice time.
Thank you. Is Mr. BLAMO still there with you?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm right here.
Mr. BLAMO, your closing statement, please. Thank you so much for taking our time. We kept you. I know it's very late in Liberia, but thank you so much, my brother. Thank you. Stay strong.
I also want to thank you again, especially to you, for providing this platform for us. And I want to say thank you to the other time for the funds you raised. But if you, just so you know, we try to secure a lawyer for us, to get a lawyer. But just so you know, every law firm we went to turn us down, only because they knew that BLAMO, that's the CONNEH, and the Moses case, they don't want to be in hot water. So we're turned down. We were turned down. We had to go out of town. We went to 4 used car fairs yesterday to rent a Nissan Patrol or a Land Cruiser. We were turned down again. as a result of it, I'm staying in Monrovia because if I were with the group, of course, we will not get vehicle to go. So we had to send them because we had to do some fact findings around. We had to go to other places. And we've been denied. Only Samuel Kofi Woods called me yesterday afternoon. He heard that we're being turned down around. I was surprised when he called me. He said, "You, the BLAMO and the CONNEH family." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Y'all come to my law firm." He said, "Come run us straight, direct them in the place." But we're still in search of vehicle because we couldn't get an aircraft to rent to hire to take us where we wanted to go. We started to use a Land Cruiser. We couldn't get a Land Cruiser. We couldn't get a lawyer even to get us a search warrant, as we had information where the boys were. We needed a search warrant, and we were denied everywhere. We can't get a lawyer. We can't get anything. So everybody gets afraid of us. We get to this place, and Lord say, "Oh, that the case concerning Moses, hey, my brother, you'll find another law firm. We don't want to get in trouble." And I called Prime FM today. I told him, I said, "This is a situation we now find ourselves. We are virtually on our own, only with the mercy of God. We are virtually on our own. Tomorrow, we could go to the police station and the police director tell us, look, we can't find a body, we can't find the people, and we can't charge Moses. We don't have a suspect." And what they call the homicide case begins with the provision of a dead body. Once there's no dead body, there's no case, and that's it. But we're making arrangement. We're trying to talk to our brothers in the diaspora. We know we need a polygraph device here for so many people to go and do the polygraph, because it's not here in Liberia that what people taking advantage of people here. So I want to say thank you for everyone to keep up the time.
Mr. BLAMO.
We are very grateful to all those.
Mr. BLAMO, hold on. Shelton, yeah. Mr. BLAMO and Mr. CONNEH, they just said two things here tonight. That let us agree that these boys drowned. How can you drown, or before drowning you say, "Let me take my phone from my pocket and trail on shore"? It is alleged now, according to Mr. CONNEH, that this boy drowned, and days later, their phones were still ringing. Number one. Number two, every law firm they went to turned them down. When they heard about St. Moses' case, they said, "You're taking it from us. Don't bring it near us." It was just yesterday that Kofi Woods called them and wanted to talk to them. What does that say to you, Shelton?
Well, that's what we asked Moses Carter last night. Let's get the call logs, through the telephone companies, whether Cellcom, Lone Star, whatever it is. Retrieve that information to see where those calls are being placed. That's the first way to establish the evidence, whether those phones were already used. The second thing is, when you say that every law firm, has turned the family down because the case is linked to St. Moses, that speaks volume. That means that
yes, indeed.
Their suspicion is that big hands involved. That tells you. But Kofi Wood is a justice advocate, and he's been that way forever. So I hope that he's able to work with the families and help them, represent them well, and we can continue to go to the bottom of this. That's the only route. But get the call log, work with Kofi Woods, file a lawsuit, subpoena the telephone companies if the police not willing to do that, and hopefully the justice system will work. Again, listen, people writing and commenting and all of that, it is not about you and I.
Don't pay the end of mind, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm coming. I just want to establish this. It's not about you and I. It is about
I'm used
to the justice system in Liberia. It is about the corruption in Liberia. It is about the bribery in Liberia. It is about the compromise in Liberia. It is about a rotting country. Okay? And this government has to do something to exonerate itself his image, because this case, I'm telling you, and I'm saying this tonight, and I want all of these listeners to listen, that this case has the propensity to bring this government to shame. The same thing that happened to President Tolbert, Ali Yancey, the Anderson, and all these people with Moses Toure, and Tolbert said, you will not bring me to shame. I will have to hang you people. And he set a precedent. This has the propensity to do the same. They kept Moses Toure for a long time before they got rid of him in Ali Yancey yard, according to the case. So this is not about what we're doing now on the surface. This has the propensity to go beyond this point. So I'm imploring the BLAMOs, the CONNEHs, and everyone else involved, get Kofi Wood, put the best legal expert together, file lawsuit, put the government foot to the fire, go to the international community, make all the loud noise you can. Unfortunately, there are many things happening right now in America here. We have elections to deal with, so all attention is focused here. But pressure the Liberian government, the Liberian National Police Force, the Ministry of Justice, the Temple of Justice, so that justice can be served. If they are convicted that those boys are alive and there's foul play and the intent is for ritualistic purpose, then they need to do that. And that's why the Liberian people, rather than focusing on other things, they need to be be vocal and expressing these kinds of issue. And I'm saying this in closing, that this case could bring this government to its heel or to its knee if it doesn't do something about it. Because I'm looking back at President Tolbert. He had to make the hardest decision in his presidency accordingly when he made that decision to hang those men.
Yeah.
Not the Liberian people who writing things, go back to history and research.
Moses Carter said last night, they were so very quick to visit the call log in Bangab when they found out that a journalist was shot, and they discovered the killer right away. But this case has been going on for almost 3 weeks. He never thought about visiting the call log when we asked him last night. But it took into serious interest in the case that had to do with the journalists that were allegedly shot because he went to steal goat.
And that was way later than Exactly. So yeah, I mean, if you want to be a little suspicious or throw some speculations in there, then this case is deeper than what it is on the surface. And I don't think if it's true that the family can fight this case by itself. That's why they've made the right choice to get people like Kofi Woods on board to support him, because they're going to be fighting a losing battle if indeed what we're hearing with $1 million coming in the equation, and who's shaking hands with money and all of that, it has deeper ramifications than we're seeing here on the surface. And just the interview of all the people we brought here is infinitesimal to a greater extent, right? If we don't establish facts here. Again, I continue to emphasize this. Up to now, everything is all muddied. And we hope that the Liberian government will take action, and take action swiftly, because this case is not ordinary. And that's why we're going to stay with it.
Thank you, Sheldon. Hey, my man, thanks as always. We're going to call this a night. I will be by later on tonight with my friend and brother from Liberia, Quincy, as we entertain the folks. And then we'll reappear on Monday afternoon with the Reverend Charles Levi Martin. He will be telling us a little bit about what happened with him and one of our sister stations. So, hey, he has...
Quick. A lot of the folks continue to ask what we're doing about the auditors. But I just wanted to quickly say that it would be another, issue that we'll start to address. I know we're still waiting for autopsy report. It's under, investigation and so forth. We will try to see if we can get some connections to begin to discuss that case. But some attention is drawn to it. So
My man. All right, bro. Good night.
Good night, man.
And folks, I'm going to take a quick little break here and reappear later on tonight at 8 p.m. with Quincy T.Y. Juliet. Want to say a big thank you to you for taking the time of your busy schedule just to form part of the production tonight. Listen, as always, tough times don't last, tough people do. And the height of a man is never known until he rises, because there's no second chance to make that first impression. Don't see okra and swallow bone, because you can't hide your nakedness from beef and bucket. A bald-headed man does not walk on the moonlight. The medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia, Ashford the Giant, the broadcast commissioner. Talk to you in just a little bit.